All right, let's just take a moment, deep breath. Yeah, just like that. In and out. Another one, just slow it down. In and out. There. Feels a tiny bit better already, doesn't it? Even just a tiny bit helps, because sometimes, often maybe, it feels like a lot. Doesn't it? The world, your head, other people, everything seems to rush at you, demanding attention, demanding action, demanding something, and you're just standing there, trying to keep your balance, wondering what to do with it all. Maybe you're thinking about the future, and it looks like a confusing mess. Maybe you're replaying the past, kicking yourself over something you said or did. Maybe you're just trying to get through today, and even that feels heavy. This feeling, this overwhelm or confusion or simple fatigue, it's part of the deal, isn't it? It's part of being here now, trying to navigate the incredible complexity of being a person. And that's okay. Truly, you are not alone in feeling like this. Not even close. This space, this narrative, whatever you want to call it, isn't about having all the answers, because frankly, who does? It's more like wandering together for a while, sharing some thoughts, tossing around some ideas about how we can perhaps, maybe, just possibly, figure some of this stuff out. Not fix it all at once. Oh no, that's a myth. But maybe find a tiny bit more clarity, a bit more peace, a bit more just being okay with the ride. Think about it for a second. How much mental energy do we spend worrying? About things that haven't happened yet. About things we can't control. About what someone else might be thinking. It's like running a million background programs in your brain all at once. And no wonder the whole system feels slow and sluggish and overwhelmed. This isn't an indictment, by the way. This is just observing. It's what minds do. They wander. They predict. They rehearse conversations. They imagine worst-case scenarios with, frankly, quite impressive detail sometimes. One of the first things, maybe the first thing to grasp, isn't a technique or a fix, but a simple, fundamental truth. You are not your thoughts. Sounds simple, right? Maybe even a bit cliché. But really sit with it. Your thoughts are like clouds passing in the sky of your consciousness. Some are dark and stormy. Some are light and fluffy. Some just drift by unnoticed. But they are not the sky itself. They are not you. You are the space watching the clouds. When a worried thought pops up, what if I fail? Or they must think I'm stupid. Or this is never going to work. It feels urgent, doesn't it? It feels like a fact. Our brains are wired to pay attention to potential threats. That's ancient survival programming. It kept our ancestors alive. But in modern life, that threat system often fires when there's no real danger. It's just a thought, a possibility, a story your mind is telling itself. So, the practice here, and it is a practice, not a one-time fix, is to notice the thought as a thought, noticing it without immediately believing it, without immediately getting swept away by the story. It's like saying, oh, there's that "what if I fail" thought again. See, just naming it, acknowledging its presence without judgment. This simple act, this moment of non-identification, creates a tiny bit of space. And in that space, you get a choice. You don't have to automatically follow the thought down its rabbit hole. It's powerful because it starts to chip away at the automatic pilot our minds are often on. It's building your awareness muscle. And like any muscle, it gets stronger with use. You start to catch yourself sooner. Maybe at first you only notice after you've been anxious for an hour. Then maybe after 5 minutes. Eventually, with practice, you might catch the thought as it arises. This isn't about suppressing thoughts, trying to push them away. That usually just gives them more power. It's more about gentle detachment, like watching those clouds. You don't need to grab onto them or make them disappear. You just watch them float by. Some hang around for a bit, some dissipate quickly. And you, the sky, remain, unchanged, vast, capable of holding it all. This principle of non-identification isn't limited to worries. It applies to judgments, to impulses, to sudden waves of emotion. I am angry. V's anger is arising within me. See the subtle shift. The first merges you with the emotion. The second acknowledges it as a temporary state happening within your larger being. This creates distance, perspective, the ability to respond thoughtfully instead of reacting automatically. Okay, so recognizing thoughts are just thoughts. What next? Well, our thoughts heavily influence our feelings and our actions, right? If you constantly think, I'm not good enough, you're likely to feel insecure, and you might act hesitantly, avoiding challenges, which then reinforces the original thought. It's a loop, a sometimes vicious loop. Changing the loop requires working on several fronts. One front is observing thoughts. We just talked about that. Another is challenging them. Not all thoughts are true or helpful, especially the ones that come from a place of fear or insecurity. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, has this as a core principle. Identifying these distorted or unhelpful thought patterns. Maybe you catastrophize, assuming the worst. Maybe you filter, only seeing the negatives. Maybe you personalize, blaming yourself for everything, and then challenging their validity. Ask yourself, is this thought 100% true? What evidence supports it? What evidence contradicts it? Is there another way of looking at this situation? What would I tell a friend if they had this thought? Often, when you hold a thought up to the light of evidence, it starts to crumble a bit. It loses its solid, factual feel. But just challenging thoughts isn't enough for everyone or every situation. Sometimes, the thoughts are too overwhelming, too persistent. This is where practices that ground you in the present moment become incredibly valuable. Mindfulness, meditation. They aren't just trends, they are ancient techniques refined over centuries because they work to shift our relationship with our minds. What is mindfulness? It's simply paying attention on purpose in the present moment without judgment. That last part is crucial, without judgment. It's not about clearing your mind, that's another myth. It's about noticing what is happening right now, whether it's a sensation in your body, a sound, a sight, or a thought, and just noticing it neutrally if you can. Try it now for literally 10 seconds. Close your eyes or just soften your gaze. Pay attention to your breath. Don't try to change it, just notice it. The air entering your nose, filling your lungs, leaving your body. Notice the sensation in your chest, your belly. Maybe your mind wanders. That's fine. That's what minds do. As soon as you notice it's wandered, gently, kindly, guide your attention back to your breath. That moment of noticing your mind wandered is the practice. It's not about being perfect. It's about consistently returning. Regular mindfulness practice, even just a few minutes a day, slowly, gently, changes the structure of your brain over time. It strengthens the parts associated with focus and emotional regulation, and can even shrink the amygdala, the brain's fear center. Think of it as training your attention. In a world designed to constantly hijack your attention, being able to choose where you direct it is a superpower. Beyond formal meditation, you can be mindful doing anything. Mindful eating, paying attention to the taste, texture, smell of your food. Mindful walking, noticing the feeling of your feet on the ground, the swing of your arms, the sights and sounds around you. Mindful listening, really, truly hearing what the other person is saying without formulating your reply. These everyday moments are opportunities to practice being present, anchoring yourself outside the swirling sea of thoughts about the past and the future. So we have noticing thoughts without identification, challenging unhelpful ones, and practicing mindfulness to stay grounded. These are all interconnected. They reinforce each other. As you get better at being present, you're less likely to get pulled into worried future thoughts. As you challenge negative thoughts, the present moment feels less threatening. As you notice thoughts neutrally, they have less power to hijack your feelings. Now, let's talk about values. What truly matters to you? Not what society says should matter, not what your parents want, not what looks good on social media, but deep down in your core, what principles or qualities do you want to stand for? Is it kindness, creativity, courage, learning, connection, honesty, justice, humor, freedom? There are no right or wrong answers here. Knowing your values is like having a compass. In confusing moments, when you're unsure which path to take, you can ask, which option is more aligned with my values? This helps cut through indecision and external pressures. If connection is a core value, then spending time building relationships is time well spent, even if it doesn't lead to immediate financial gain or status. If creativity is a value, making time to create, even if it's messy and goes nowhere, is vital for your well-being. Living in alignment with your values isn't about being perfect all the time. It's about consciously trying, messy though it may be, and acknowledging when you stray, not with harsh self-criticism, but with gentle correction, guiding yourself back toward your chosen direction. It brings a deeper sense of meaning and purpose than just chasing external markers of success. What about goals? Goals are different from values. Values are like the direction. Goals are like the specific destinations along the way. If a value is learning, a goal might be to read a book a month or learn a new skill. Goals are useful, providing focus and a sense of achievement. But it's crucial that your goals are informed by your values. Chasing goals that contradict your values will ultimately feel hollow. Also, important distinction: process goals versus outcome goals. Outcome goal: I want to get an A on this exam. Process goal: I will study for 2 hours every day. The outcome goal is partially outside your control: the difficulty of the exam, how other students perform. The process goal is entirely within your control. Focusing on process goals reduces anxiety, builds consistent habits, and ironically, makes you more likely to achieve the desired outcome anyway. Habits are the building blocks of the life you want to build. Think about it. What you repeatedly do shapes who you become. James Clear talks about this brilliantly in Atomic Habits. Focus on small, consistent improvements, 1% better each day. It seems tiny, but it compounds into massive change over time. Want to be a healthier person? It's not one huge decision. It's the daily habit of choosing water over soda sometimes, taking the stairs, eating one extra piece of fruit, moving your body for 15 minutes. Want to be a more knowledgeable person? It's the habit of reading a few pages daily, listening to a podcast, being curious, and asking questions. Making habits stick isn't about willpower. It's about making them easy, attractive, obvious, and satisfying. Make it easy. Wanting to exercise doesn't work if you have to drive across town. Maybe start with a walk around the block. Make it attractive. Pair it with something you enjoy. Listen to your favorite music while cleaning. Make it obvious. Leave your running shoes by the door. Put the healthy snack where you can see it. Make it satisfying. Track your progress. Reward yourself in a small way. Feel the immediate benefit, however tiny. And crucially, Forgive missed days. Don't let one missed workout unravel the whole habit. As the saying goes, never miss twice. If you mess up, accept it and just get back on track the very next day. Progress, not perfection. Remember that mantra, progress, not perfection. Let's talk about failure. Oof, failure. It stings. It can feel like definitive proof that we are not good enough, that we shouldn't have tried, that we are inherently flawed. But that is perhaps the most damaging interpretation of failure imaginable. Failure is information. That's all it is. It's feedback. It tells you that what you tried didn't work this time for whatever reasons. It's a signpost, not a tombstone. It shows you what to adjust, what to try differently next time. Every single successful person you can think of has failed, probably numerous times, often spectacularly. The difference isn't that they didn't fail. It's that they didn't stop because they failed. They learned, they adapted, and they kept going. If you're afraid of failure, you'll likely avoid taking risks, avoid trying new things, avoid stepping outside your comfort zone. And your comfort zone, while safe, is where growth goes to die. To learn, to evolve, to achieve anything meaningful, you must be willing to fail. It's part of the tuition fee for a meaningful life. Embrace it, analyze it objectively, extract the lessons, and move forward. The only real failure is not trying at all, or quitting permanently after one setback. Related to failure is fear. Fear of judgment, fear of the unknown, fear of not being enough, fear of success even. Fear is a natural response, another ancient protective mechanism. But it often acts as a cage, keeping us small. Acknowledge the fear. Don't pretend it's not there, but question its validity. Is the thing you fear genuinely likely? Is it truly catastrophic? What's the worst realistic outcome, and could you handle it? Often, taking one small step despite the fear is the most powerful thing you can do. Action reduces anxiety more effectively than endless rumination. Courage is not the absence of fear, goes the quote, but the triumph over it. Feel the fear and do it anyway. Start small. Prove to yourself you can handle a little discomfort, and your capacity for courage will grow. How we talk to ourselves matters, perhaps more than anything else. The internal monologue, that constant chatter in your head, is it mostly supportive or mostly critical? Would you talk to a friend the way you sometimes talk to yourself? Probably not. You'd likely be much kinder, more understanding, more encouraging. Why do we reserve the harshest criticism for ourselves? Often, it's internalized from past experiences, past criticisms from others, or comparisons to impossible standards. This self-talk creates our reality. If you constantly tell yourself you're incompetent, you'll believe it, feel incompetent, and act that way. If you tell yourself you're capable, you might just surprise yourself. Start noticing your self-talk. Become aware of the tone, the common phrases, the judgments, and then deliberately, gently, start to shift it. Challenge the harsh statements. Offer yourself words of encouragement. Celebrate small wins. Be your own friend, your own coach. Practicing self-compassion isn't selfish. It's essential for resilience. It's treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding you would offer someone you care about who was struggling. You are human. You will make mistakes. You will have flaws. That doesn't make you less worthy. It just makes you human. Let's touch on the messy world of comparison. It's rampant today, isn't it? With social media showcasing everyone's highlight reel, it's easy to feel like you're behind the scenes bloopers, just don't measure up. Comparison is often called the thief of joy, and it's true. When you compare yourself to others, you're usually comparing your messy middle to someone else's curated endpoint. You see their success, their possessions, their effortless seeming lives, and you contrast it with your own struggles, your own doubts, your own ordinary reality. It's not a fair fight, and it tells you nothing useful about yourself or your journey. Focus on your own path. Compare yourself only to who you were yesterday, last week, last year. Are you making progress, however small, toward your values and goals? That's the only comparison that matters. Celebrate others' successes genuinely, without letting them diminish your own sense of worth or accomplishment. Unfollow accounts that consistently make you feel bad about yourself. Curate your inputs. Protect your headspace. Related to comparison, but a bit different, is imposter syndrome. This feeling like you're a fraud, that you don't really deserve your achievements, and that any minute now, everyone is going to find out you're making it up as you go along. This is incredibly common, especially when you step into a new role, try something ambitious, or find yourself in a place you always admired from the outside. Imposter syndrome often stems from attributing your successes to luck or external factors, while attributing failures to your inherent lack of ability. It's amplified by perfectionism and fear of failure. If you never make a mistake, maybe no one will realize you don't know everything. But that's an impossible standard. If you feel imposter syndrome, congratulations. It probably means you're challenging yourself. People who never feel it are often not growing, or are perhaps overestimating their abilities. Feeling like an imposter means you respect the challenge. You understand the stakes. Don't let the feeling stop you. Recognize it as imposter syndrome, acknowledge it's a sign of growth, and keep going. Talk about it with trusted friends or mentors. You'll find you're not alone. Everyone's winging it to some extent. Truly, the difference is some people don't let the feeling paralyze them. Let's shift gears slightly and talk about constraints. We often view constraints as negative things, limitations that hold us back. But in creative endeavors, in problem solving, in building habits, constraints can be incredibly powerful tools. Too much freedom can be paralyzing. Imagine being told to create anything. Where do you start? But if you're told to create something using only 3 specific colors and reflecting the theme of hope, suddenly you have boundaries. These boundaries push your creativity within them. They force you to be resourceful, to innovate, to find new pathways you wouldn't have considered otherwise. In self-improvement, setting constraints can be the key to action. If you want to write, don't aim for a novel, aim for 500 words. If you want to exercise, don't aim for a marathon, aim for a 15-minute walk. If you want to eat healthier, don't cut out everything. Focus on adding 1 serving of vegetables to dinner. These small, constrained actions are achievable. They build momentum. They build the habit. Embrace smart constraints as tools for focus and progress. Boundaries, not just constraints on ourselves, but boundaries with others. This is huge for mental and emotional health. Knowing your limits and communicating them kindly but firmly. Saying no when you need to. It's not selfish, it's self-preservation. If you constantly overextend yourself for others, saying yes to every request, taking on too much, you deplete your own resources. You risk burnout, resentment, and losing a sense of yourself. Healthy boundaries are about respecting your own time, energy, and emotional capacity. They communicate to others how you expect to be treated, and they protect your inner space. It can feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you're used to people-pleasing. There might be pushback, but the alternative is unsustainable and ultimately harmful. You teach people how to treat you, And setting boundaries is a key part of that education. Start small. Practice saying no to low-stakes requests. The more you practice, the easier it becomes. And the people who truly value you will respect your boundaries. Those who don't, well, that tells you something important too. Forgiveness. Another loaded topic. Often misunderstood as condoning bad behavior or forgetting hurt. But true forgiveness isn't about the other person. It's about you. It's about releasing the burden of anger, resentment, and pain that you carry. It's accepting what happened, understanding its impact, and deciding that you are not going to let it continue to poison your present and future. Holding onto resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. It only harms you. Forgiveness doesn't mean you have to reconcile with the person who hurt you, or even tell them you forgive them. It can be an entirely internal process. It's a radical act of self-care. It takes time. It's a journey, not a single event. And some things might be harder to forgive than others. That's okay. Start with the smaller hurts. Practice releasing the grip of the past. You deserve the freedom that forgiveness brings. Forgiving yourself, perhaps the hardest kind. For mistakes made, chances missed, times you weren't who you wanted to be. Self-forgiveness involves acknowledging what you did, understanding why often operating with limited information or capacity at the time, making amends if possible, learning from it, and deciding that it doesn't define your entire worth. You are more than your worst moments. You are capable of learning and growth. Offer yourself the same compassion you would offer anyone else grappling with their imperfections. Now, let's talk about change. It's the only constant, isn't it? Heraclitus said you can't step into the same river twice. Everything is always flowing, always changing. And yet, we often resist change, cling to the familiar, even if the familiar is uncomfortable or unhelpful. Why? Because change involves the unknown. It involves uncertainty. It can be scary. Learning to navigate change gracefully is a vital life skill. It involves acceptance, accepting that things will shift, relationships will evolve, circumstances will alter. It involves adaptability, being willing to adjust your plans, your perspectives, your approach. It involves resilience, bouncing back after setbacks, learning from difficult transitions. Instead of viewing change as something happening to you, see if you can view it as something you can learn to move with. Like surfing a wave instead of fighting against it. It takes practice to feel the rhythm of the ocean, the rhythm of life's changes. Focus on what you can control amidst the change, your attitude, your response, your small actions. Build your inner stability so that when the external world shifts, you have solid ground within yourself. What about vulnerability? Oh, vulnerability. It feels like standing naked in front of the world, right? It's terrifying because it involves the risk of being seen, truly seen, and potentially rejected or hurt. Brené Brown's work has shed so much light on this. Vulnerability isn't weakness, it's courage. It's the birthplace of connection, innovation, and trust. When you allow yourself to be vulnerable, sharing your true feelings, admitting mistakes, asking for help, pursuing a passion without guarantee of success, you create the possibility for deeper relationships and a more authentic life. When you see someone else being vulnerable, what do you feel? Usually empathy, connection, respect, right? Extend that same grace to yourself. Being guarded, always pretending to have it together, is exhausting. It creates distance. While it feels safer in the short term, it costs you genuine connection and emotional intimacy. Practice small acts of vulnerability in safe relationships with people you trust. It builds resilience and opens up new possibilities. Gratitude, such a simple concept, such profound power. It's not about pretending everything is perfect or ignoring hardship. It's about deliberately noticing and appreciating the good things in your life, no matter how small, even in the midst of difficulty. A comfortable bed, a good cup of tea, a friend's laugh, the sun on your skin, a beautiful piece of music, simply having access to clean water or food. Training your brain to look for the good shifts your perspective. It counteracts the brain's natural negativity bias, which is wired to spot potential threats. What's wrong? A simple practice. Each day, write down or mentally note 3-5 things you are grateful for. Do it consistently. You'll start noticing things you previously overlooked. Gratitude doesn't make challenges disappear, but it changes how you experience them. It builds resilience, improves mood, and enhances overall well-being. It's hard to be simultaneously grateful and deeply unhappy. On that note, cultivating joy. What brings you simple, pure joy? Not the fleeting happiness from acquiring something or achieving something external, but the simple, authentic joy of being alive. Is it spending time in nature, listening to music, playing with an animal, creating something, connecting with loved ones, doing something completely silly just for the fun of it? In the rush of daily life, joy is often relegated to the margins. It's seen as a luxury rather than a necessity. But making time for activities that bring you joy isn't indulgent. It's essential for nourishing your spirit. Schedule it in. Protect that time. Don't wait for permission or for everything else to be done. Everything else will never be done. Prioritize joy. It replenishes your energy and reminds you of what truly matters. And while we're talking about feelings, let's address the full spectrum. It's okay to feel sad. It's okay to feel angry. It's okay to feel frustrated, lonely, scared, disappointed. Emotions are not problems to be solved or shoved away. They are information. They tell you something about your experience, your needs, your values. Instead of judging or resisting difficult emotions, try to approach them with curiosity and acceptance. Where do you feel this emotion in your body? What is it trying to tell you? What does this emotion need? Sometimes, just acknowledging an emotion, naming it, allowing yourself to feel it without judgment for a few moments, reduces its intensity. Emotional resilience isn't about not feeling difficult emotions. It's about being able to feel them, learn from them, and move through them without being overwhelmed or stuck in them. Building capacity for all emotions builds capacity for life. Loneliness. In a hyperconnected world, why do so many of us feel lonely? Maybe it's the quality of connection, not just the quantity. Swiping through endless profiles, getting likes on a post. These offer fleeting hits of validation, but often don't fulfill the deep human need for genuine connection and belonging. True connection requires presence, vulnerability, empathy, and shared experiences. It's built in shared quiet moments, deep conversations, helping each other out, showing up consistently. It takes time and effort. If you're feeling lonely, identify the type of connection you're craving. Is it surface-level interaction, close friendships, intimate partnership, community belonging? Then, take small steps towards building those specific types of connections. Reach out to a friend. Join a group based on your interests. Offer help to someone. Be the initiator sometimes. It requires courage, yes, but it is profoundly rewarding. What about giving back, contribution, helping others? Research shows that acts of kindness and generosity boost happiness and well-being, not just for the recipient, but for the giver. Turning your focus outward, contributing to something larger than yourself, provides perspective and a sense of purpose. It doesn't have to be a grand gesture. Small acts of kindness, a genuine smile, holding a door, helping a neighbor, leaving a nice note, donating a small amount to a cause you believe in, these ripple outwards. Volunteering your time and skills not only helps others, but connects you with your community and exposes you to different perspectives. Contribution reminds you of your capacity to make a positive difference in the world, however small the scale. Let's talk about attention. Our most precious, limited resource in the modern age. Everything vies for it. Notifications, news headlines, endless entertainment options. Where you direct your attention determines your experience of the world. If your attention is constantly fragmented, jumping from one thing to the next, shallowly skimming the surface, your inner life will feel fragmented and shallow too. Training your attention through mindfulness is key, as we discussed, but it's also about consciously choosing where you don't direct your attention. It's setting limits on screen time, notifications, endless scrolling. It's saying no to distractions. It's deliberately carving out time for focused work, deep reading, quality conversation, quiet reflection. Protecting your attention is protecting your mind. And on focusing, let's discuss single tasking versus multitasking. We often wear multitasking as a badge of honor, proof of how busy and important we are. But scientifically, multitasking is a myth. You're not doing multiple things at once efficiently. You're rapidly switching your attention between tasks, paying a cognitive cost each time you switch. This makes you less efficient, more prone to mistakes, and more stressed. Single tasking, focusing on one thing at a time, allows you to do it more deeply, more effectively, and often more enjoyably. You get into a flow state, that state of deep immersion where time seems to disappear and you perform at your best. Practice single tasking whenever you can. When reading, just read. When talking to someone, just talk and listen. When working on a task, close other tabs and silence notifications. See how it changes your experience. Speaking of technology and its role in our lives, it's a powerful tool, undeniably. It connects us, gives us access to information, streamlines tasks. But it also presents challenges to our focus, our well-being, our sense of self. Are you using technology intentionally, or is it using you? Are you mindlessly consuming or mindfully engaging? Digital well-being is becoming increasingly important. Set boundaries with your devices. Schedule screen-free time. Don't take your phone to bed. Turn off non-essential notifications. Be conscious of why you're picking up your phone. Is it boredom, avoidance, genuine need? Creating a healthier relationship with technology isn't about becoming a Luddite. It's about regaining control over your attention and your time. Let's talk about simple living. In a consumer culture that constantly tells us we need more, simple living is a countercultural act. It's not about deprivation. It's about intentionally choosing to live with less, so you have more of what truly matters: more time, more freedom, more peace, more experiences, more connection. Decluttering your physical space often declutters your mental space too. Letting go of possessions you don't need, use, or love frees up energy and resources. Being mindful about new purchases, asking, do I truly need this? Or will this truly add value to my life? Reducing subscriptions, commitments, digital noise. Simplify where you can. It creates breathing room. Minimalism, a more extreme form, focusing on living with minimal possessions. Not for everyone, but the principles: intentionality, focus on value over quantity, reducing waste, are universally applicable. Even small steps towards simplifying your life can bring significant benefits. Back to inner stuff. Self-awareness is the foundation of all self-improvement. It's knowing yourself, your strengths, your weaknesses, your values, your triggers, your patterns of thinking and behaving. This requires introspection, reflection, and often honest feedback from others. How do you build self-awareness? Paying attention to your thoughts and feelings, mindfulness. Keeping a journal. Reflecting on your experiences. When did you feel most alive? When did you feel drained? What situations bring out the best or worst in you? Seeking feedback from trusted friends or mentors. Psychometric tests like personality profiles can sometimes offer insights, but don't let them put you in a box. They're a starting point for reflection, not a definitive label. The journey of self-discovery is ongoing. You are always evolving, and so your understanding of yourself should also continue to deepen. What is character? It's often defined as who you are when no one is watching. It's built through the accumulation of countless small choices, especially the difficult ones. Choosing honesty when it's easier to lie. Choosing kindness when you're feeling impatient. Choosing integrity even when there's pressure to compromise. Building strong character isn't about being perfect, but about striving to live in accordance with your deepest values, even when it's hard. It's about taking responsibility for your actions, owning your mistakes, and learning from them. Character isn't something you are born with. It's something you cultivate deliberately, one choice at a time. How do we learn? True learning isn't just absorbing facts. It's about understanding, integrating, applying knowledge, and changing your behavior as a result. Lifelong learning isn't just for school. It's a mindset for living. Be curious about the world, about people, about new ideas. Read widely, listen actively, ask questions. Don't be afraid to admit what you don't know. Seek out different perspectives, even those you initially disagree with. It challenges your assumptions and broadens your understanding. Intellectual humility, acknowledging the limits of your own knowledge, is a powerful trait. Failure, as we discussed, is a great teacher if you're willing to learn from it. So is feedback, even constructive criticism, though it can be hard to hear. Approach feedback with an open mind, not a defensive one. Try to understand the other person's perspective, extract the valuable insights, and discard the rest. It takes courage to ask for feedback and wisdom to process it effectively. Let's touch on resilience again. What makes some people bounce back from adversity while others struggle? Resilience isn't just grit or toughness. It's a complex interplay of factors. Having supportive relationships, maintaining a positive, but not Pollyannish, outlook. Having coping strategies, believing in your ability to handle challenges, and finding meaning even in difficult circumstances. You can build your resilience like a muscle. Cultivate strong relationships. Practice realistic optimism, acknowledging difficulties, but focusing on possibilities and learning. Develop healthy coping mechanisms like exercise, mindfulness, hobbies, spending time in nature, talking to someone. Focus on what you can control. Reframe challenges as opportunities for growth. Find small moments of peace and strength. Resilience isn't about avoiding suffering. It's about navigating it with strength and eventually finding your way forward. Purpose. What is your purpose? Another big question, often paralyzing. Does there have to be one grand purpose? Maybe not. Maybe purpose isn't something you find. Maybe it's something you build day by day through how you choose to live. It can be found in small acts, being a good friend, doing meaningful work, contributing to your community, creating something beautiful, raising a family, pursuing knowledge. Purpose is often found at the intersection of what you are good at, what you enjoy, what the world needs, and what you can be compensated for if it's related to work. But it doesn't have to be work-related. Your purpose could be to bring more kindness into the world, simply through your interactions. It could be to appreciate the beauty around you and share it with others. It can evolve over time. Don't feel pressured to find a singular, earth-shattering purpose immediately. Focus on living purposefully in the small moments. Do things that align with your values, things that bring you energy, things that feel meaningful to you. The larger sense of purpose may emerge organically. Okay, that was a lot, wasn't it? We've bounced around from thoughts to values, habits to forgiveness, fear to joy, boundaries to purpose. Think of these not as discrete, isolated topics, but as threads in the rich tapestry of what it means to be human, striving to live a good life, a meaningful life, a life that feels, well, okay. There's no test on this, no right or wrong answers that apply to everyone all the time. These are simply ideas, tools, perspectives to consider. Pick one or two that resonated with you today. Maybe it was noticing your thoughts. Maybe it was thinking about your values. Maybe it was realizing you need to set better boundaries. Start there, just a small step. This journey of self-improvement, of philosophical reflection on how to live, is not a sprint. It's a lifelong exploration. There will be good days and bad days. Days when everything clicks and days when you feel like you've gone backward. That's normal. Be patient and persistent with yourself. And remember the core, underlying message. You are capable of learning, of growing, of changing. You have inner strength and wisdom you may not even realize yet. The mere fact that you're engaging with ideas like these, that you're willing to think about yourself and your place in the world, means you are already on the path. It's okay if it feels overwhelming sometimes. It is complex, but by breaking it down into smaller pieces, by focusing on one small area at a time, by practicing consistency over intensity, you make it manageable. You build momentum. So take another breath, a slow, deep one, in and out. You've got this. Not all at once, maybe not perfectly, but little by little, step by step, you can keep figuring things out. You can build a life that feels more aligned with who you are and who you want to become. Keep being curious. Keep being brave, even if it's just in tiny ways. Keep being kind to yourself. The journey continues, and you are more ready for it than you think. Just keep going.